Is Virat Kohli all that different to Travis Head when it comes to hitting sixes? Now, with the ongoing IPL, and especially because it's the T20 format and the way the modern batters bat, we do know that we will see a lot of balls flying across the boundary line for a lot of sixes. Now, that being said, we also look at different batters hitting a lot of sixes, and it's always fascinating to see because there are some batters with a lot of strength, and then you see some batters just timing the ball, just pure timing, still clearing the boundary line without any problems. So this got me wondering, what are some of the openers like? So I've selected few openers. That's Virat Kohli, Travis Head, Sanju Samson and Abhishek Sharma as openers for this video. If you want a part 2 for this video, let me know in the comments below. If you want us to make a power hitting specialized video on especially the middle order and lower order batters, comment down below too. Now before we go more in depth on this video itself, hit that subscribe button. Now in this video, we will uncover a lot of things. We will talk about how they set themselves up or the trigger movement. We have already talked about what the trigger movement is, but if you don't know, is the movement a batter makes right before the bowlers bowl the ball to get ready. We will look at the bat lift. We will look at the kind of bat speed. Of course, we don't unfortunately have the data of the speed of the bat itself. We will talk about wrists and the type of shots these guys play. Let's start off with Virat Kohli. Now, we do know that to hit a ball, especially to hit a ball very, very hard, you need to have a really good base. Now, the way Virat Kohli sets himself up is no real surprise. We've already gone over this. We've made multiple videos about this. He goes back and across to a fast bowler. If you look at this carefully, he goes back and he goes across and he sets himself up. His back lift is not the highest as compared to the other batters on this list, but it's still pretty high enough for him to get a lot of shots through. Now in this particular ball, he just times the ball, and with Virat Kohli, you see a lot of timing. Something else that's important with power hitting is the swing of the bat itself. Of course, you can have the highest of back lift, but if your swing of the bat isn't good enough, then you will not be able to connect the ball the way you want to, regardless of power or timing. And now Virat Kohli does this very, very well because he is a timer of the ball. You will hardly see Virat Kohli hit the ball unless he is using his wrists. Now that is the third element in terms of power hitting, is the way you use your wrists. Virat Kohli, while playing across the line to a fast bowler, is usually when he just flicks it, uses his bottom hand completely, and this is where you can say that he hits the ball more than relying on his timing. Whereas when you see him play straight or even the offside majority of the times, he's uncorking his wrist, which basically means he's holding his hands as straight as possible while swinging the bat towards the ball. So if you look at this footage, you can see that he uncorks the ball. Of course, he still has a bat swing, but he's relying on his timing more than hitting the ball, which is also why you don't see the biggest of follow-throughs with this shot, because he's relying on his timing more than hitting the ball. Now, this is against the fast bowlers, whereas against the spinners, now of course, even a timer like Virat Kohli will want to hit the ball sometimes, and it depends on the kind of shot that he wants to play. Virat Kohli has started to bring out the sweep shot a lot more than he used to before, especially in the IPL in the last 2 seasons, and he usually wants to hit the ball as hard as he possibly can. We can say this because of his bat swing and the angle of the bat and the way he extends his elbow, which is yet another element in power hitting. Now, Virat Kohli against the spinners as compared to the fast bowlers doesn't go back and across. If anything, he has started to more and more clear his front foot. Now, when you see this footage, he of course does take a step forward, but that is to make sure his hands are more free. He doesn't go across because he knows that if he does go across, his pads are in front of his stumps. We do know the number of times he's gotten out LBW against spinners. Now he's trying to make sure he clears his front foot a little more than he used to before, so he doesn't go across. If anything, he's taking a step forward on the leg stump itself. Now because of this, his hands are quite free. Because of this, he is able to play that sweep shot, and this is him just muscling the sweep shot. Of course, he still wants to time the ball, but more often than not, he's trying to muscle the sweep shot. And again, this is also because he is using his wrists. So the next time you watch Virat Kohli hit a 6 or a boundary, every time he uses his wrists, there's a lot more muscle behind the ball than when he's not cocking his wrists and holding it as straight as possible. In those particular shots, it's a lot of timing. Now that's Virat Kohli for you. When you look at Virat Kohli and then go to Travis Head, there are significant differences. Now Travis Head, unlike a Virat Kohli who wants to time the ball, looks to muscle the ball a lot more. Of course, as a batter, you would want to time the ball, so he will have shots where he doesn't use a lot of power but does time the ball. But something that's very important to notice with Travis Head, and one of the major elements in power hitting, is bat speed, and that's exactly what Travis Head has. With bat speed, he has a high back lift with a very fast bat swing, and he's able to achieve most of this because of his base. Now, if you look at his base, before the bowler balls, he of course goes back and across, but unlike a Virat Kohli after going back and across, he also clears his front foot. So if you look at this very closely, and we'll go through it once again, he goes back, he goes across, and takes another step, clearing his front foot, which is when you know he has a lot of weight on his front foot. And regardless of the line of the ball, of course, by this time he already knows if it's going to be a short or a full length delivery. He knows that he can just clear his front foot and have at it. He can just swing his bat, and a lot of the strength comes from his core and his hip, which is another major element in power hitting. The ability to use your hips and your core strength to really swing the bat as hard as possible. And this is a fantastic base for a hard hitter like Travis Head. And he really doesn't depend on timing because of all of these elements of power hitting that's backing him. And this is how he's very, very different to Virat Kohli in terms of power hitting and being able to hit boundaries and sixes. Again, we see him go back and across, clears his front foot, especially when it's a short ball, throws his bat, swings at it. It's almost bottom of the bat, but he's getting a boundary as fast as what a Virat Kohli would if he timed the ball. And this is how they're very, very different openers, but essentially want the same result. Now, this is Travis Head against the fast bowlers. Let's look at him against the spinners. Now, against the spinners, Travis Head does really the same thing, except he doesn't really have to clear his front foot because he goes back and across, and by the time his front foot is cleared, he goes back and across, has a very high back lift once again. Not at the time of his initial like a Virat Kohli, but when he's going to play the shot, he has a very high back lift. And again, doesn't really rely on his timing because of the amount of elements he uses apart from timing itself. His bat speed, his bat swing, the elbow extension, the hip drive that he has as a batter, extension of the elbow, the uncorking of the wrist, all of these elements allow him to not rely on timing alone. And this is where we move on from Travis Head to someone like a Sanju Samson. Something that's very common with Virat Kohli and Travis Head, it's the fact that they want their weight towards the front foot, because their whole idea is to be able to play the shots from the front foot itself. Sanju Samson, on the other hand, especially when he started opening for the Indian team, has made a change. Instead of going back and across, Sanju Samson just goes back and completely back, and that's where he plays the shots from, and that's where he makes his base. Now, if you look at this very closely, Sanju Samson is already on his way, going to the back foot, goes completely back. It almost feels like both his legs are behind the crease, and at this point, it is that. What this helps him with is he goes back, takes a step forward, and again swings at it. If you see the idea, it's basically the same thing. What it really does is when he takes a step back against the fast bowlers and then takes a step forward, he has a wider base. Now, this allows his hands to be a lot more freer. This allows a bigger arc and bigger range of swing, and this is what he relies on a lot more. What is confusing is I don't know how successful it's going to be in the long run and how successful this is going to be around the world. For now, it has worked, but it will be crucial to see for how long this will continue to work, or if we will see Sanju Samson make more changes in the future. That's Sanju Samson against the fast bowlers, but when you look at him against the spinners, it's quite drastic. So what he does is very similar to Virat Kohli. He takes a step forward, clears his front foot almost so that his hands are free, and everything else after that is the same. Waits for the ball, waits to know where the line and the length of the ball is, and plays his shot. Very much alike a Virat Kohli, except Sanju Samson is not that risky. From Sanju Samson, we have to talk about Travis Head's partner in crime in Sunrisers Hyderabad, and that's Abhishek Sharma. A lot of people think they bat similarly. Of course, they do bat similarly in terms of their style, but their techniques are quite different. Now, when you look at Abhishek Sharma, again, he does go back and across like Virat Kohli and Travis Head. But if you look at his bat and his back lift, it's the highest as compared to the other three guys that I've been talking about. It's so high that he only relies on his bat swing and his bat speed and the strength behind it. All batters would want to time the ball, but Abhishek Sharma relies so much more on his bat swing because of the arc that he creates because of his back lift. Now, in every shot, unlike the other three batters that we did talk about, he looks to make sure that he has a bigger arc of his bat swing. Not only that, but to make sure his wrists are uncocked and his hands are as straight as possible, making one clear path for his bat. Again, if you look at this example, he doesn't go back and across. If anything, he steps away from the stumps. But again, the idea is still the same. Of course, he's timing the ball. In essence, it looks like he's timing the ball. But it's because of his back lift and the bat speed that the ball just flies through. And so even in this ball, if we didn't really time it, it's still going for a boundary. And that's what we see in the next ball. He steps out, doesn't necessarily time the ball, but the ball is racing away to the boundary because of the bat speed and the swing. And that is such a major difference. If you look at Travis Head and Abhishek Sharma, they rely on the same things, but the way they execute it, even if it might seem slightly different, these are major differences. Because Abhishek Sharma doesn't really care about clearing his front leg, because all he cares about is making sure he has a clear path for his bat swing. Now, this is even more evident against the spinners. Now, when you look at Abhishek Sharma against the spinners, he hardly has any movement before the ball is released. He's very still, waits to judge the line of the ball, clears his front leg, and has the wildest of swings towards the ball. Again, it's the same idea with Abhishek Sharma, to have the biggest swing arc as a batter and to make sure he's putting in a lot of power, a lot of hip drive behind the ball so that the ball travels as far as possible even if he hasn't timed the ball. The point of all of these comparisons, when you look at Virat Kohli, Travis Head, Sanju Samson and Abhishek Sharma, they're very, very different kind of batters. All of them are openers, all of them have the same role, but the way they go about things are very, very different. This is to say that as an opener or as a power hitter, you don't really need big muscles, because if you look at these four players, they don't have the biggest of guns, but they are players who can clear any boundary in the world. And this is because of the elements that we did talk about and the way they go about doing their thing. Keep in mind that, of course, these aren't the only openers in the IPL currently, and there are a lot more other openers. If you want us to make a video on that, comment down below. But the art of power hitting in itself is so specific. If you want us to make a detailed video on just that, especially batters like Nicholas Puran, Mitchell Marsh, MS Dhoni, and how they go about their power hitting, comment down below. This has been a video on the four different kind of openers and how they go about hitting the ball for a six or for a boundary. That will be relentless this IPL. And watch out for more changes batters make, but also bowlers. And we will have videos on the technique and the kind of bowlers there are in this IPL. Like, share and subscribe, all that good stuff. All of our links are in the description below. If you haven't followed us on our socials, do that too. If you haven't followed us on our WhatsApp channel, do that too. We interact a lot, and that will be used on our YouTube lives every Sunday that we will do at 11 a.m. to talk about the IPL review of the week. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.